What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Boardroom Podcast, where we help you stay calm, change lives, and have business on your terms. And really, this podcast is really mainly for us to share with you what we're learning as we're building Charlie, as we're growing the team, and marketing, like what's relevant, and just a way for us to change lives, stay calm, and build the business on our own terms. It's more for us than it is for you who are listening, right? Let's just be completely honest. So what we wanted to talk about today is how to handle transitions of key people on your team, right? So we're in a transitory period where we're starting to accelerate growth, and we're losing some key people, right? Like that have been in essential core pillars on a part of our team, even on our leadership team. And so I've seen people completely do this transition in a horrible way, right? And I'm like, I know how I'm not going to handle it. So we can kind of talk about some of the horror stories that's influence how I handle these things, and then how I like to handle these types of transitions for people on our team and my mindset behind it. Right. So I know this is came as a shock for you. Like, how are you feeling when I told you we're going to be losing this individual?
I felt like somebody punched me in the stomach a little bit because this person has been with us literally since
As close to the beginning, like
pretty close to the beginning. I would say it was the second going on to it's kind of like the second iteration of Charlie, right? The first one, it was kind of like just you trying to do it, and then you
it
realize,
was
holy shit, it's kind of
it was
this,
terrible. They were like
yeah,
they were the first key hire that I made to really start turning the duct tape version of Charlie into a real product with a real interface that users and our clients can actually log into.
right. So he's been with us literally when the real Charlie we try to put out there, because the other one, like you said, duct tape. I don't know if it works. Like it was dog shit. Let's just be real.
It was rough. It was me doing my best.
So we brought
Just
on
hanging on my thread.
right. We brought on a real engineer to try to actually build something, right? And I still remember like I think it was the second interview, or it was his onboarding. I was on a ruck outside, and you're like, "Hey man, jump on! We got our very first new engineer hired, like a real legit person." And I was on my phone, and we were just talking, right? And I was on my walk and everything like that. I still remember the onboarding / call with him, right? And he's been with us since the beginning. It's gone. He's probably built like 5 versions of a Charlie, right? And then when you told me, hey, we're gonna lose this person, I was like hit, and but then I was kind of pissed too. I'm like, why in the F is he leaving? You know what I mean? And you probably shouldn't go about that, because you probably could say something and you're like, but you don't know the full story, right? Now, after you told me like, hey, this is why, now we can unpack that here shortly. This is why, and this and that. I'm like, well, yeah, okay, well, that makes sense. It still hurts because he's been with us since
Yeah,
day
I'm happy
one.
for him, sad for us,
Mhm.
you know.
Exactly. I'm always happy for somebody to get a bigger opportunity, continue to, move further in his career, help his family, help himself, whatever the case is, why he does certain things. I'm all for people to do all that. But then it's
Yeah.
like, mother effer. It's almost like starting all over again. Even though it's not, because we do have some key people still there. Like, it's
Yeah,
not
we
like,
have some
holy
great
crap.
people
Mhm.
on board, and you just have to you have to build a good relationship with those guys.
Yeah, because I don't have any relationships with other those in that department. It's just him, and he's like the main one, right? I can message him whenever. Hey, but you mind jumping on with me real quick? Yeah, I got you. I can't do that with anybody,
I
anybody
mean, you
else.
gotta start building those relationships. But I
Yeah,
mean, that's what makes the transition hard, right? For me, I've seen someone about to lose a key guy, and then he just manipulated the hell out of them into staying and, made him feel bad for leaving and all these things. And you can just tell that even that the way that they went about it, even though the person stayed, they never actually stayed in their heart. They were checked out from that point on. Right. And you also, when you do that, when they eventually do leave, that bridge is burned and that door is closed.
Yeah, you
Right.
can't even get the person back. You're like, "Man, he was a good key player, great person. He was, like, awesome at a job." Yeah, doesn't matter now, dude. You effed that up. You know what I mean?
And so, like, if they have an opportunity to come back, like, they're not going to take it because of that, unless it's a completely different person running the show. So for me, I have a very abundance mindset when it comes to that. One, because I believe in God and I believe that God does not downgrade, right? God has just proven too many times in my own life that if he says something's going to happen, it's going to happen, right? So I don't believe even in setbacks. I just believe in divine repositioning, right? So like anything that's happening, if there's a blocker or quote unquote setback, I just view it as like God strategically repositioning us in a divine way, right? So when it comes to people, for me, yeah, it's gonna suck in short term, but I'm excited long term because I think it's gonna give us an opportunity to get to the next level, right? To bring on somebody even better. And then really for me, the way I look at it is one, their opportunity is bigger for them in the way of like compensation. But Charlie is the biggest opportunity that he's gonna work on, right? For me, I wholeheartedly believe that the new opportunity that he's going to be at is going to get him to a certain point. Hopefully, he develops and he gets even better, becomes even more valuable. And then when Charlie starts to realize his potential, we're in a position to, hey, make him a similar offer to come back onto the team. We'll be in a position to do that. Right. So I want him to I really hope this new opportunity that he's taking advantage of. Not only that is the money is going to be exceptional and life changing for him, but I truly hope that it turns them into somebody even more valuable on their dime, right? So that company is going to be paying to develop him so that we can take him back when we need him later on. If, if,
It's like he's
if
going
that
back to school without us paying for it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, "Hey,
right?
man, just."
Exactly. So for me, that's really kind of how I look at it. And I want people to be able to ultimately become as valuable as they can be a part of our team. And if a better opportunity comes for them to become even more valuable, I want them to be able to take it. And even the way that because of the quality of our relationship, the way that they're leaving, it's not like they're like, "Hey, peace. You have a week to find somebody else and figure it out." No, he's like, gave us more than enough time, going to be involved even after the transition to help facilitate and make sure the new people that we onboard have all the acts, all the stuff that they need. They understand what we're building at a really high level. They understand the technical layouts, all those different things on the back end. And that just lets you know the quality of an individual they are, but then also the quality of the relationship that we have. Right. And that's the kind of relationship that I want to have with every key person on a team where it's like, yeah, it almost feels like it tearing apart,
It
right?
almost
Because
feels like betrayal, like, "You mother effer, why are you leaving me?" You know what I mean? "You're an
yeah,
a-hole." You know what I mean?
but that just means that you care, which is awesome, right? And the cool thing is like when you have really good relationships and people care about the relationships, even when they're leaving, they want you to be better off than before. They want to leave you better off, right? I want to leave everyone better off than they were before, right? I never want anyone to leave and be like, "Oh yeah, I hope your new opportunity sucks." And that's just the wrong mindset. You know what? Like, I genuinely hope it is everything he wishes it to be. I hope it's better than what he wished, right? Than what he anticipated. And it's funny because I was talking with someone else about the situation. They were like the way that they were I could tell our mindsets were very different, right? They're a lot more cynical. They were like, I want us to blow up and and be very big, and I want them to realize how much they missed out, and they want to come back. That's
Well,
so
that
funny.
person could just be, like, very competitive and, like,
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah,
yeah,
100%. But
there's
it
nothing
was just
wrong with
cool,
that. It's
you
just
know.
it's like that's like a chip on his shoulder, that other person, right? It's like,
100%.
"Mother
I didn't
effer, you
have a
wanna leave me?
yeah, I
Alright."
didn't have any problem
Me either. I have no
with their
problem with that,
mindset
by
with
the
that.
way.
I
No.
loved it. I was like, "That is hilarious." Like, we ultimately want the same thing to happen,
He
but
just went
how he
about it a little
wants it to
bit.
happen versus how I wanted it to happen, it was very different. It just showed us how different our personalities were, but it was cool to see, like, how aligned, we are. Like, we ultimately wanted the same outcome. So when key people are leaving, it's very important that one, the quality of the relationship is going to determine the quality of their exit, right? So you want to have a plan in place. What are the things that needs to be documented that aren't documented that's going to set up their replacement for success, right? So this is the first thing that you gotta have. You gotta have an exit strategy, right? And if you have a good relationship with them, you don't have the documentation, all the documentations that you need. They're going to want to go out of their way to make sure they have those things in place. So you build an exit strategy, and it starts with having really good documentations on everything that they're doing, even the little things that they just do instinctively, right? If there's an issue and they're going fixing it and they're just going in and knocking it out, like documenting where you're going to find those issues and how to go about resolving it. What's your process for doing that, right? If there are major projects that they're working on that they're gonna like half complete, right? Making sure the full vision of that project is truly documented in a way where somebody who's coming in, they can see what has been done, see the vision of what's being built, and be able to pick it up right as if nothing happened. Right. So you gotta have a really good solid plan. And then you also have to give them an opportunity to really share what are the lessons that they've learned here that are going to take it to the new opportunity, and then have an opportunity to actually celebrate them. All right. So that's what we're going to be doing in the next week and a half. We're going to be celebrating them, giving them an opportunity to really let for the team to communicate how much they enjoyed their time, how much they enjoyed be with like having them a part of the team and the things that they've learned from them. All right. Cause we want to send them off on a high. All right. So what we're doing is if with the people that you want to have a very easy opportunity for them, if it doesn't work out and they want to come back home, I want to make it easy for them to reach out. Right. I don't want any kind of shame there where they're like, oh, like I can't reach out. Like there's no way they're gonna want me back. Right. So I want to make sure for those types of people that they're transitioning on good terms, I want to go out of my way to let them know that that door is open, and then also have plans to check in with them every few months just to tap in. How's everything going with your project? How are you doing? How's life? How's family? Right. And just keep a finger on the pulse for a really good to just in case an opportunity comes up where we're like, hey, we really want to bring you back. Right. Here's the offer that we can make to bring you back. Because good people, talented people are easy to find. Right. You can find there's lots of talented people out there. Talented people with core value alignment, with high integrity, those are hard to find. And when you find really good people, it's important that you keep the relationship healthy, right? It's important that you keep those doors open. All right. Like the last guy who burned me doesn't know how much business burning me has cost it. Because when people reach out, like they're considering potentially doing business with them, and they're like, hey, what do you think about this guy? Guess what I'm saying?
F that
Run.
guy.
Like, run. There's been networks that they've wanted to join, and people that are running those networks that I have a really good relationship with, they're like, "Hey, just want to, it looks like you guys are connected. What do you think about this guy? Should I let him in?" Hell no. No. Don't let him in. Not because of there's any malice. It's because of like the people that I care about, they're asking for my honest opinion. I'm like, no, I'm gonna give them my honest opinion based on my experience with them. Right. So that's like the invisible hand that's working against you that people don't see. Right. So there's an invisible hand that could be working, either pushing against you or at your back, pushing you forward. Right. And that invisible hand is your reputation. Right. It's your
Especially on the
ability.
online space. Reputation, whew, it's tiny. Everybody knows everybody, and if that person doesn't know, he's gonna ask somebody else, "Oh, yeah, I know that guy." Once your reputation is like, it's hard to get it back, especially on the online space. Like, if this was in the early 2000s, no internet, dude, you can get away with a lot of shit.
Yeah, back
You
in
know what
the
I mean?
day, what was considered like um somebody like moving and starting a new life, they just had to move 3 miles away and they could start a completely new life. Like, they traveled back in the day before the internet, before like they can move 3 miles away. And it's like they're starting a completely new life. They're in a new town, different people. This was before like major highways were like the industrial revolution, major highways and things like that. So as technology has advanced, the distance between us has shortened. Like I can travel anywhere in the world now, and you and I could still be. We're not even in the same city. We're on opposite ends of the country, and we know each other very well. And we communicate regularly. Like it does not matter where you move to or where I move. We're always going to be connected somehow, right? So as technology is advanced, the distance between people is shortened. Right. It is very easy for me to fact check somebody, for me to do a little digging into their background, see if we have any mutual connections, reach out to our mutual connections, and then figure out like if they're legit or not. All right. Before, you can have a fake identity, right? You can have a fake ID card, fake socials, fake everything, because everything was paper. Right. And you can go to a new city and assume a completely new identity and nobody would know the difference. It wouldn't even know. Right.
Right, right.
I was just going to say they have to hire like bounty hunters who specialize in finding these people, and it would take them years to find them. And by the time they found somebody, they already had kids, they have a new life, they're a completely different person.
Very, yeah, the whole
Yeah.
9
And they're
yards.
like, oh, well, yeah, I guess I still want to collect on this bounty, but you're not the same person that I was hunting like 20 years ago. You
Right.
know?
And then, going back to our, the person that we're losing. Yes, great person. Yes, great values. Yes, somebody that we want back if the opportunity were to arise again. But going back, now that you have a full scope with the person, do you feel maybe that he was probably in the wrong maybe seat? Maybe he felt like, "Oh, man, I don't think I can really help you guys at a high level like I thought I would. Reason why I'm taking this other position." Is there some things that you're like, "Man, I kinda failed him," or anything like that, that you feel maybe he woulda stayed other than the money, but do you feel there's, some things that maybe that we messed up on
For
throughout the
me, I
whole
mean, there's
process?
lots of good takeaways.
Yeah.
Even hard takeaways, right? Where it's like you gotta look in the mirror and confront the ugly truth and work on it. So for me, I think one of the things I wouldn't say he was in the wrong seat because he was in the seat that we needed him to be.
Mhm.
Right. When teams are small and scrappy, everyone is assuming a role that's not necessarily maybe the best seat for them long term, but is the seat that the team needs you to play. If you're a team player, which he was, which we all are, you're gonna do the stuff that you don't necessarily want to do long term. It's not sustainable for a 5 to 10 year stretch, but it's sustainable for the season that you're in and doing what's required. So I don't feel bad about the seat that he was in. I feel great about the seat that he was in because he was in the seat that we needed him to be in. For me, the things where I see, even after communicating, conducting kind of like an exit interview and figuring out like why, like what are the things that was going on, right? It became very clear that I could have done a better job communicating the vision of the roadmap and what we were building and why we were building, right? You felt out of the loop on a bunch of different stuff. Didn't really understand like how what we were building right now connects to the bigger vision. And once I painted that to him, then I could see his eyes light up and he was like, got it. I see now. Right. So that for me was like, wow, I thought I was communicating what we're building frequently, but it just became very clear. I was like, I'm not communicating it frequently enough. Right. And so I'm gonna start building out like over the weekend, I'm gonna be taking time to build out like a really vivid vision documentation that is very easy. Everyone on the team will have it, and then I'll be periodically going through it just to remind everyone what the North Star is. Um, and then the other thing that became very clear was he was very hard on himself as a leader, right? The way that you can tell how people view themselves based on how they communicate about how well they're doing their job. Right. And if you don't have a healthy self-esteem, like if you don't have a healthy view of who you are and a healthy understanding of the value that you bring, you can start to very much view what you do as who you are. Right. And you can start to seek external validation, and it could start to affect your self-confidence. So for me, and I'm like, I feel only thing I'm like, man, I should have caught it sooner, right? Should ask better questions around how they're feeling about how they're leading their team, how they're feeling about the job that they're doing, things like that earlier on, right?
Yeah, and it only makes sense because usually those type of roles that we hire this person for, they're very introvert, right? They're very like in their little box. Da, 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 da. They don't I would probably say he has probably talked more than I'm gonna bet on it. He has talked more to everybody. He's done even some group calls that he's never done ever in his life in any other position. I'll guarantee you, he's opened himself up as a human more than ever here than
Yep.
he's ever.
And
I'm gonna
and
bet
that's
that.
one of the things that he said he's like most grateful for is like we
Pushed him.
obliterated what he thought was his comfort zone. Like there's like pushing someone out of their comfort zone and then being like, what is a comfort zone? And that's what being a part of the team did is like for him. So he's very, very grateful for that.
And I would probably say that for anyone that's in that department. I bet they've never been on a team meeting and be like, "Hey, you're up.
Yeah.
How'd your week go? How was your week?" And they're like they probably never talked to me before. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
People
And it's
like their
awesome.
and the communication is key, right? Because at the end of the day, the reason why I structure those things in place is to give a format for everyone on the team to level up how their communication skills, right? To be able to communicate. And as they're able to communicate, they're able to become more confident, become more comfortable hearing the sound of their voice and talking with others and being proactive and making their voices known, right? And that's why we've been able to like when there are issues, people aren't hiding issues, right? There's no one on the team who's afraid to bring an issue to light, right? And that's very strategic in how we have our communications set up is like giving everyone an opportunity to speak and be acknowledged. But for me, I was like, man, those are like two major takeaways, right? One, over communicate the vision, find new ways to communicate how what we're doing today really connects to where we're going. Because there's nothing that we're doing that is not tied to where we're going. Nothing on the roadmap. Everything has a purpose. right? So communicating what that purpose is in more frequently and in different ways. For me, that was like one of my biggest takeaway. And then the other one was feedback, right? Like positive reinforcement on how they're doing inside of their role, right? Like not just like the technical stuff, but like how are they doing as a leader, right? So for those in leadership, if you're not used to leading people and you haven't been there for a while and you're still kind of like young in how you view yourself or your thinking, you need that positive reinforcement, right? And it became very clear as I heard him talk, kind of broke my heart a little bit, right? Hearing him talking like, man, I could have done and should have done a much better job communicating to you how well you were doing as a leader, right? So I had to call him out and be like, dude, what are you talking about? You've done a great job leading the team,
And it
right?
was his
Leading your
first
team.
leadership role too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So he learned a lot, but he just felt like he wasn't doing enough. And that feeling is never going to go away. I was talking with one of my new mentors yesterday who sold his company for several hundred millions. And he had to call me out on that too, because he was like, dude, I'm like, I feel like I'm doing a terrible job as a leader, right? I just don't feel like I'm where I need to be for our team, right? I don't feel like I'm where I need to be for our clients, right? So there's this constant gap that I feel between where I want to be and where I am and where the team needs me to be and where I am and where I feel like our clients need me to be and where I am. And so he called me out on it. He was like, dude, like, what are you talking about? Right? You guys are made some great traction and you're continuing to make some great traction with the business. And I'm just like, it's not enough.
It's not happening fast enough, man. Come on.
You know, like it is just not happening fast enough. But for me, my self-worth isn't tied to that. So when I'm identifying those gaps and I'm looking in the mirror, I'm not saying I'm not good enough, right? I'm not saying like I'm not valuable or like I'm completely detached from that because my value comes from God and my value comes from my relationship with God and my family and who I am as a man, right? I can look myself in the mirror and I'm perfectly happy with who I am. And I own the decisions, good and bad, that I made, and I work on improving myself daily. So when I'm looking at the gaps and like I'm not good enough for my team yet, and I don't feel like I'm good enough for my company, and don't feel like I'm good enough for our clients and for our users and for the product and things that we're building, like I just don't feel like we're where I want to be. It's not a shot. That doesn't make me doubt my ability to get there, right? It just makes me hungry to want to do more, get better, and continue to improve. Right.
No, that makes a ton of sense. I mean, just like how we lost somebody on a different company not too long ago, and it hurt, right? It hurt from
Hurt
two ways.
financially and
It hurt for financially, and it hurt me as like, man, I literally just failed this one, right? Like
yeah,
I literally like, man, I can't help this guy, dude. Like, give him his money back. Like, I don't feel confident in myself. I don't feel I just don't feel like I can help this dude. Like I'm just holding him along, just to holding him along, dude. And then I had to make it clear to you, like, dude, like I'm sorry, but I know it's gonna hurt financially for us, but I can't help this guy, dude. Like, just
yeah.
give him his money back. But it
And that's
opened me
high
up,
integrity, right? Like it's if you care, then it weighs you down. It weighs heavy on your conscience.
dude. The amount of a gorilla of weight for weeks, and I wasn't sleeping. Like, this is one account, right? But it's a big
Yeah.
account, and I'm like, "Ah, I don't want to do this. I don't want to let Iggy know. Like, I'm fucking struggling with this fucking account. God damn, dude." And I'm just like, finally, I told you, dude. And this was weeks. And I was like, I can't, dude. Like, I'm
Yeah.
stressing, bro. Like, I'm fucking struggling. Like, I can't
And
help the
even
guy, dude.
even that, you know, and that's kind of telling the kind of relationship that we need to have with our people.
Mhm.
Because even though, well, you know me for forever.
Years.
Like if
Yeah.
you sat down and thought about like how I would have reacted, how I react Was it different from, like, how you thought I was gonna react based on how you were
No,
feeling?
not really. What I was trying to do, I was trying not to, like, fail us, right? It
Yeah.
felt like, "Man, I failed it. I effed it up. This is all on me." But I was trying to save it, and I'm trying to save it, and then it's like I'm crawling up a hill, and I'm crawling, but I'm not getting anywhere. And then I finally, like, it's kinda like I broke down, like, "Sorry, Iggy, but I can't help this dude. Like,
Yeah,
let
we
it
gotta
go."
just be able to know our own limitations on what you can really do, and I think that's one of the things where it's like, if he had come to me and was like, "Man, I really don't feel like um, I I can do this at a high level," right? I would have been like, "We have a couple options. I can help you get there, or I can hire somebody who has that experience, and then they can mentor you to get there."
Right.
Right?
And we probably maybe would have saved it if I would open my mouth earlier, right? So that's kind of like honing it in. I'm like, I can't fail this, dude. I can't fail it. Then after a few weeks, I'm like, I'm gonna just swallow my pride, bro. I
Yep.
let this
And
guy
at
go,
that point, it
dude.
was like the damage
It's
is
done. Yeah, it was done.
already
Like
done.
we couldn't get the guy back. Like I already
There's
knew,
nothing we can do at that point,
but the
you
best thing
know?
to do is like owning up to that and be like, "Hey, man, like, I'm sorry that I wasted your time, but hey, here's all your money back." Like, 'cause
Yep.
there's a lot of dudes that won't give their money back, like, the fucking
There's a lot of
a-holes.
people that
Yeah, like,
refuse to
if you
give
"Oh, you
the
signed a contract and this, and, hey, that's how business works, sometimes you would." Nah,
I
dude,
get
like
that, especially when you're, like, HubSpot level. Those mother effers, don't even get me started. Like, but I
right,
get it. When you're like a conglomerate and you're that big and then you
who
just like,
cares? There's
you
no
know
souls anymore over there.
so but when you're like small shop, boutique shop, few handful of like scrappy employees and team members, your reputation is too important. Like you just gotta give people their money back, especially if you have the money to be able to do so. And especially when it hurts.
It hurt. Like,
Oh
every
man, like
week, I was like, "Here's the money." First thing I woke up in the morning, "Here's your money." First thing about, "Here's money," and it lasted like 8 days. "Here's your money." I'm like, "Mother effer, dude."
Yep.
But a good thing that came out of it is, 1, it made me better, right? Because I understand some pitfalls and some bad things, maybe don't do that, do this. But it also let us know who we can actually help here. Like, "Hey, man, if they're above this, don't bring them here," because 1, we don't probably don't have the knowledge and skill set, and we don't have the resources to help them out like that, right? That person should have probably hired somebody in-house, and really that's all they did was just that one company, not,
Yep.
you know what I
And
mean?
then
So
we could have been like a advisor for that one person that they hired in house, right? And so, but those are just great learning opportunities, like if your attitude had been like the attitude of some people that I refuse to do business with, where you start blaming and you start making excuses and you're like, and then you start coming at me and be like, why do you even sell him? Da 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 da. Like, would have been a completely different situation, right? But it's like when and that's why like being with good people is so important, right? Because I was talking to my wife about a similar situation where um something didn't work out financially, right? I don't want to mention it, but it was 2022 and you know, we we rode that wave up. We rode that plane to its peak and we also rode it into the ground.
I I'm talking like 6 feet under the ground type jazz, you know what I mean? It was Dave, like, just cut
It
me
was
out
an
at this point.
absolute catastrophe. So, so we're talking about this situation and the difference between a couple people who I invited into that opportunity and how they reacted. Right. One of them started calling me a scammer. They were like accusing me of stealing their money, da 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 da. Super entitled, like extremely entitled. And then the other one, when everything went down, they called me and they were like, dude, I just took a massive L, but I don't even want to imagine what that L looks like on your balance sheet. Are you okay? Like, how are you doing? Completely different responses. The one who was super entitled and started trying to come at me like, I don't like the dude is out of my life. Like, I don't have any communication with him whatsoever unless it's forced when they're invited to a function or they're at a family gathering or whatever it is. Like, they're connected to the family. All right. No communication whatsoever. Like, as far as I'm concerned, the dude does not exist in my life. Right. But this other guy, I spoke to him yesterday. We're still really good friends to this day because he showed me who he really was when the chips were down, shit hit the fan, and he was clearly in a lot of pain, but I was in a lot of pain too. But instead of coming at me and trying to look for something to blame, he was just like, man, that was a big L, but I can't imagine what your L looks like because I was up quite a bit. So he's like, man, are you okay? And I was like, dude, I really, really appreciate this conversation. Like, you showed me who you really are, just by this conversation. And when I'm able to, I'm going to go out of my way to take care of you. Right. So, um, it's just kind of funny, but you got to believe people and show you who they really are. All right. And so for you've already, I know who you are. Right. And that's why I like to find people who are really good people and surround them on the team. But then if they have to go, like, I want to make sure we send them off in the most incredible way possible, leave that door open because you never know. It's a very small world and reputation is more important. Reputation and relationships are more important than revenue. All right. And so for me, that's the ethos that I live by, reputation and relationships over revenue. Revenue follows great relationships and great reputation, right? But you have bad relationships and a terrible reputation, good luck trying to make money, right? Like, you may be able to make some money short term, but eventually that reputation is going to catch up to you. And everything that you try after that is going to be painfully difficult. And then you're going to have to leave the pool that you shit in to find a new pool where nobody knows who you are or
You got to
what
start
you've
all
done.
over. And the
You got to
worst thing to
start
do is start all over.
all
And
over, which we've witnessed.
it's hard.
You have such a bad reputation in one market. You got to completely pivot hard into a completely different market because nobody in that other market will do business with you. Right. So you have to
Yeah.
go where nobody knows who you are.
So the, the,
So
the word of, the word of advice, don't hold shit in. Let your peers know how you're feeling. Cause there probably ways they could have saved it. There's probably ways that could have, hey, we could turn this around. You know what I mean? And I mean, another example is when we had the consulting company, I didn't open my mouth. I told you, remember I told you after, I'm like, hey man, I was going to tell you, we lost the other partners, but let's just figure out how we can go partner up on this. You said, dude, why didn't you tell me? We probably would have did it.
we definitely
We
would
probably,
have done it
we probably,
and
we
avoided
would
a
have
bunch of
avoided
things.
that. Oh, man, you would have avoided it a lot.
But
So
but
yeah.
honestly, it worked out for the best because that led to what we're doing now with
Mhm.
Charlie and Blue Chip, and I think these are both significantly bigger and better opportunities than what we had before. So ultimately, it all works out, and that's my whole point. It all works out for the good if you really believe it will. Like, everything is worked out for our good, right? Everything that's happened is worked out for my good. The lawsuits that I've gone through have worked out for my good. The people that I've been able to meet have worked out for my good. The crashes that I've experienced in crypto have worked out for my good, right? The losses in business have worked out for my good. Like, everything has worked out for my good. And I really believe is like in Romans 8, the Bible says that God works everything out for the good of those who love him. And for me, I really believe that with all my heart. Everything works out for my good for that reason. Right. So,
I strongly agree with that. I strongly agree with that. And you learn throughout the way so you can avoid those mistakes moving forward. We were just talking about our crypto. When you sent me a meme, hey man, this was me about my crypto. I'm like, yeah, I learned. I don't do that crap anymore, bro. Like blue chip, stables, get my cash flow, let it ride up. And then you know what I mean? Like, I don't that's what that crap. You know what I mean? Like this is my system. Don't try to get me reared off because I already learned my lesson too many times. You know what I mean? But it's funny though.
as we we're way over our normal time, but hopefully you guys kind of, for those guys who are listening, hopefully you found this helpful. I just want to share what we're learning. Um, not everything's blue skies and rainbows. You lose essential people on your team, right? You lose essential staff, essential leaders, essential vendors. As you're building a business, you're fighting inertia, right? You're having to fight external forces to build a momentum. And even as you're building momentum, things are going to happen that can derail you. And it's all about how you show up, and being able to keep a level head comes down to your core beliefs, like what you believe to be true about yourself and what you believe to be true about the world around you, right? You cannot have a bad belief system, a bad internal operating system, and then expect how you show up when shit hits the fan to be different. If you fix your internal operating system, your internal belief system, you're going to do the right things when hard times come, right? When you have key people leave, if you have a good belief system and a good view of the world, you're going to treat them with respect. You're going to treat them with dignity, and you're going to make sure the send off for them is as good as possible. When you have clients who you recognize that you can't help, and you just nothing you can do, if you have a good belief system and a good view of the world, you're going to take care of them. All right. So those things just confirm either whether or not you have a solid North Star, a good internal operating system, or they expose that you need to look internal and fix it. All right. You are the common denominator in all those things. So this is just an example of that being exposed. And as you run a business and as you're working a part of a team that's fast growing, that's fast paced, high growth, then you're going to have a lot of opportunities to see the mirror and work on things that needs to be improved. Right. And if you realize you keep behaving in a way that's not appropriate with the way that who you want to be, then you got to look internal and fix those belief systems and get a new internal operating system, and the behaviors and actions are going to change the result.
Yes, sir.
So appreciate you guys for listening. I'm excited for what is coming. I really am excited. Right? I am so pumped for what we have coming down the pipe. I'm excited for the new talent that we're going to be onboarding, and I'm excited for what we're building so far and like what we're going to accomplish this year. It's going to be an incredible year, and we're going to look back and we're not even going to recognize who we are toward the end of the year and the progress that we made. All right. Till next time, crew, stay calm, change lives, and have business on your terms. Peace.